Five or Under with Dr. J. The show provides solutions to any of your personal or work-related problems in under 5 minutes. We guarantee you will discover a new aspect of yourself and you'll see others in a whole new light. To gain this insight, write your questions to jerlik05@gmail.com. If your question is chosen for a show topic, you will receive a free test, a free profile from jerlik.com, the most precise personality profile on the market. This is Dr. J with jerlik.com, Jerlik. This question comes from James, who is from Seattle, and that is the question of what to look for in a violent employee. We are living in an age where violence erupting in schools, in manufacturing plants, offices, post offices, all kinds of modalities, airports are occurring very, very frequently. And too little is understood about the violator and made public about it. And too little is done in training and preparation. Now I want to talk about, this was a writing, an article by Stephen Diamond, PhD, who does forensic psychology in Los Angeles and has written books on anger. And what he described the diagnosis of these type of violators of office violence and eruptive sudden violence and their magnitude as called intermittent explosive disorder, which is a diagnosis of a lack of impulse control, characterized by a failure to resist the aggressive impulses that result in serious assaultive acts. Now I want to talk about, because these are people who are very often quite quiet, quite polite, mind their own business, don't even want to be bothered, and yet a simple thing could go wrong for them, even in their perceptive mind, and they will absolutely explode. Now, what is happening here is that this is a repressed anger. This isn't happen overnight. And I want you to become very aware when you're seeing something like this, and don't mistake it because they're quiet and soft-going and easygoing, but when you see a sudden change, once or twice, you're seeing something very differentiated that's not normal. At that point, there needs to be a way in your office, whether to a supervisor, manager, or whoever your superior is, to be able to say, and I'd like to see more training in the office places, but to be able to say to your supervisor, I believe there's something wrong. Don't be afraid. Don't think you're kind of snitching on your employee. This is important. It's more important, even if you're wrong, to have it looked into than to ignore it and be absolutely wrong by having the magnitude of explosion, such as an earthquake, occurring in your office. Now, these are people with repressed anger since childhood. They probably come from a family where anger wasn't often, certainly not in a healthy way, expressed. There was no idea that we can identify and be okay in speaking about our negative feelings and learn how to get them out and talk about it before we hit the explosive range. There's usually an underlying esteem issues. They do not feel good about themselves. They do not have much confidence. Therefore, they see themselves as a disgruntled subject and citizen in this country. They therefore see themselves as being victimized. That brings a sort of paranoia, whether it's true diagnosed paranoia, but certainly it is perceived paranoia that the world is against them. This repressed anger that they have either builds up into, and there's only two ways that anger could go. You need to understand that all feelings like this, all feelings like anger are very high frequency feelings. It's like if we swallow it, if we repress it, if we suppress it, we are like putting down in us equivalent of a frequency of an earthquake. And when it's done over time, as children grow up into adolescence and adults, and they have this repressed amount of anger, it's either going to turn against the person, producing deep depression, or it's going to come out in an explosive way, as I mentioned, from 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds, and they will become absolutely tremendous aggressors to the point of violence. And when you see any kind of semblances of that, even in a small incident way, in the workplace, this is someone to observe, this is someone to be reported to, and please bring up to your supervisors and management the need for preparation, the need to begin to understand the symptoms, the signals, and what do we do before anything happens. Instead of everyone panicking, we need to act as a team, just the way you would in any kind of work situation. So I thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you again. Thank you.